In this presentation, we will mostly talk about the big view planning, the macro trends, and also some of the beauty movements. And the one that we're going to talk about is, of course, Psy-Care. And why will Psy-Care become an integral part of the beauty industry? That's the first part of this presentation. But before we understand what Psy-Care is, we also have to see the relationship between the Beautystream and Psy-Care. Because today it's not only about look beautiful or smell beautiful, you also have to think about 4 other things. First of all, the physical health, which is of course part of our beauty. It's more and more also our mental well-being. Then it's home and interior, which also become more and more part of the beauty industry. And finally, how will science and technology have an impact? So this topic is so important because of many, many reasons. First of all, we are unfortunately in a period of time where there are lots of economical and political tensions in the world. We, of course, have the climate crisis, which we live in, and it's also a problem for the planet, for the people. And we also have an aging population. In most of the countries around the world, the population is getting older, not because lack of natality, but more that we have so many good health institutions now that can also help us to live longer. Level or on an individual level, this is causing a lot of stress, of course, because we see how mental stress is increasing, which sometimes, unfortunately, also leads to substance abuse. That can be legal or illegal drugs, but we see it a lot, especially in the Gen Z, And we also see that on a also very personal level, there's this increase and desire to express your emotions. And then more on the business side, the acceleration of competition. If you look at all the brands and all the collections that you see in the beauty industry of perfumes and color cosmetics, competition is so strong today, so hard, and a lot of similar products are on the market. So here you really have to find a niche, and we believe that Psy-Care will be one of the solutions. So the relevance to the beauty industry of Psy-Care is that you will offer moments of escape, which is so important, to counter all the facts that I mentioned before. It will increase your self-esteem. You will see more and more also the connection between beauty and health, and finally, the convergence of fitness and beauty. So with these 4 pillars, we started looking also into the beauty movements that we also present on the website. I only picked out 2 of them because these are the 2 most important ones for the Psy-Care movement. First of all, it's private haven, and the other one is cognitive wellness. Private haven is really to have that need to find your personal feel-good bubble today, because I'm not saying that you have to isolate yourself, but to be able to find a balance in life, you also need to have a very nice bubble, personal home, for instance, where you can find yourself, where you can relax and you can find your little own comfort zone. Here are some facts. We know that the sustainable home care market is growing rapidly, and also the same with the luxury interior design market. So those are facts that you can remember. We see 4 distinct opportunities for this beauty movement for products. The first one is, of course, the extension of personality through home fragrance. Home fragrance today will not be, or tomorrow, will not only be about finding a fragrance that you like, but also for different moments in life, maybe for different days, maybe for different times during the day. We have the home care category that will also be almost like an extension of yourself and your skin. We see now more and more brands that used to work only in the beauty business, they also now go into home care. And we believe that in the future, we will see luxury brands. Can you imagine Chanel launching a line of home care, for instance? Then it comes to home beauty tech, which is also a very strong category that really started to become very big during the pandemic, where you couldn't go to your favorite hair salon or beautician. That you want to have your home treatments, your salon treatments at home, actually. So this is very, very big, and this is also a way to tap into hyper-personalization, of course. And then lastly, it's also when we talk about yourself and mental health, we're also going to talk about sexual wellness. This is something that has been taboo quite long, but we also see now more and more brands tapping into products that fit into this segment. The second beauty movement is cognitive wellness. And here we also know that, of course, that if you smell a good scent, your mood is improved. And we also know that if you leverage mental well-being, you also have to think about how you actually treat your brain and the future. This is also linking into the aging population. More and more people, later will have to live maybe with Alzheimer or other cognitive diseases or illnesses. And we have to make sure also from the beauty industry that you get good products for personal care, fragrances, and also beauty applicators and products that will fit into this aging population group of consumers. And here we really see also 4 very strong product categories to develop. The one is, first of all, psychochromatic effects, where you think about color, chromatherapy, and how the importance of linking color to a fragrance or for a beauty line or for skincare, for instance, because it has a very psychological effect. The same also for fragrances. We see also a boom in feel-good fragrances, not only necessarily remembering something that was pleasant in the past, but it can also remember you of a person or of a moment or something in life that was important to you. This is also very, very important for the aging population. Then we have the cerebral training. We would like to think that also in the future, the beauty industry will consider the brain also as a part that it can make more beautiful. And this will also find then the links between different categories that can be supplements, for instance, that can also be rituals like massages and so on to also keep up the brain and the neurological system. And finally, we also see that some brands are tapping into microdosing. Well, what does that mean? That's actually adding a little bit of that what used to be maybe an illegal substance into beauty supplements. We talk about magic mushrooms. We talk about maybe other synthetic drugs that are in very, very small doses added to the supplements to keep depression away, to enhance your mood, and to make you feel better. So if we take those 2 beauty movements, what do they have in common? And here I'm going to give you some ideas how you can also work on the ideation of different products. And it's all about polysensoriality. We live today in a world where everything seems to be digital and virtual, but we have, our senses that we need to learn to awaken again. We have to listen to them, and we have to trust our senses. This is so important today. And we actually have 7 senses. And now maybe you say 7. I think we only have 5. But let me explain that later. But first of all, we put the number 7 here because it's a very positive number. When we started to work on this presentation and this concept in the beginning of the year in 2023, we said, okay, if you add up those numbers in numerology, you get number 7. Number 7 is a very mythical and positive number because it leads to deceleration, which is really this year, what's it all about? We need to decelerate, we need silence, we need interiorization to be able to observe, analyze, reflect on what's happening, and also be able to transmission, to give what we know to other generations. This is also very important when we talk, by the way, this is just a sidestep. When we talk about generations, the Gen Z is so important, but we also should think about all the other generations so we don't forget what the other age groups need today. So, as I said, 7 senses. Well, the 5 that we all have, that we're innate with, is sight, touch, hearing, smell, and taste, of course. But then we added intuition, the 6th sense, which is said to be only women that would have. I don't believe that. I think we all have intuition if we just listen to it. And the 7th sense is love. Love is about empathy, it's about affection, it's about understanding other people. And actually now there are a lot of headhunters and recruitment agencies, they actually used also empathy as a factor of employment today. So it's very important. So let's start with our sight. Today we look at things constantly. We look at our phone, we look at people, we look at screens. But do we really reflect on what we actually see? I think this is really important, and we have to look at shapes and colors and lines and proportions to be able to create good things in life and good products. It's also very important to be able to rest your eyes, and this is, we see as a strong trend today, is that color seems to become more earthy, which is also very much linked to Psy-Care because they are not distracting. They are also very calming, they are soothing. We see it in fashion shows today, we see it in interior design. This is very interesting because on the third image here is actually from the new terminal of the Charles de Gaulle airport in Paris. It's been completely relooked, and this I think is very new because it used to be all like, gray and blue, and now it's very soft shapes, the colors are earthy, it's beautiful, you just want to rest there, and of course you're going to miss your flight, but it's for a good cause. It's also in the beauty, we see that it's becoming more natural. We will see less of those very long eyelashes, we will see less of those huge lips, and something will become much more natural also when it comes to skin conditions. So therefore, we will see this group of colors coming more into beauty, the beauty segments, especially for hair, where we will see a lot of those amber colors that are really reassuring. Of course, they will be from maybe a dark amber to a very brighter orange, but it's also giving an aura to your face, which is also very, very positive and also very flattering to the person who's wearing these colors. However, we also see that maybe for the younger generation, they will opt for dopamine boosters when it comes to color cosmetics, like a hint of a super bright orange or fuchsia mascara, for instance, otherwise on a very neutral and nude face. But those are also colors that will actually boost your energy and your good mood. The second sense is our touch. This is also something that we have a tendency to forget, to use of our hands. We scroll and we swipe and we use our hands and fingers on very cold surfaces, like phones and iPads. And today you see that the younger generation, they don't know to feel the difference between what's a wool fabric, what's a silk fabric, what is cotton. And we would like to come back to that. And so there, in this story for the beauty industry, we have to talk about textures. Textures that are exciting, textures that make you surprised, textures that are sticky and gooey maybe, and crackling and spongy. But they have to be soft. And we love this story where we talk about softness everywhere. The home, this is also linking into the private haven. The shapes are very round, they are comfortable. It's like sitting in a cocoon of plush fabrics or wool bouclés. It's very inviting. In fashion, we see how knits, very soft knits, are coming back, and we love this sweater that has already inbuilt cushion in the sweater. Finally, the ad from IKEA last year that put their duvet covers in a container of skin cream to say that sleep is actually the most natural anti-aging remedy. It's true. Hair is also so important when we talk about touch. We all want to touch our hair. That should be, soft and be healthy. And so therefore, we see more and more also now hair and scalp massage. The scalp has really become today a part of your body that we look more and more into, because with a healthy scalp, you also get healthy hair. And this is very important also for the aging population. We will see more and more also companies tapping into, of course, more mature women who are looking for this, and more mature women who also would like to keep their long hair, but it should look healthy. So this is also linked to serums, it's linked to creams, and it's also linked to scalp massage that we will see more and more of also in the salons. Hand care is also becoming increasingly important, especially for men. Men now finally understand, maybe they don't want to go for a whole makeover, but at least they want to have healthy hands and beautiful hands with nail care. And of course, the trend for nail polish is now all over the world and will continue, again with the young generation who is using nail polish as nail polish, also to have a more personal look. When we talk also then about skinification, that's been a trend that's been going on for quite some years now. So we see also how the border between cosmetics, foundations, and skincare is getting blurred. We will see more and more now foundations that also have embedded active ingredients to help individuals that might have skin problems like dry skin or rash or eczema and psoriasis. This, of course, will also be developed for all different skin types, different ages, and again, with formulations or with formats where you can also have hyper-personalization to adjust the quantity that you want for an active ingredient. Then we go into our hearing. And of course, when you think about hearing and the ear, how is that linked to the beauty industry? Well, it is actually, because it's very much linked to the well-being and what you hear, how you perceive sounds. This is a very noisy environment, and you just want to sometimes, go out and get some quiet, and some, no disturbing noises. And there are now some brands, they started to think about how can we create a link between beauty products and soothing sounds. In the middle, you see here, it's a device. It's like a crystal xylophone, just creating beautiful, just very abstract sounds. But then we have more concrete, of course, examples like the scented fragrances from Soleil de Nuit, which they sell actually their scented candles together with a playlist. And the same, last year it was the launch of Paco Rabanne's Phantom that also came with a playlist. And if you go over to the other hall where you have the clean beauty area here, there's a Korean brand who's also selling serums, skin serums that were actually developed in link with playlists. So there's definitely a link between the mental well-being and music. We also look into, of course, more traditional rituals here with the Tibetan bowls and the sound therapy. But to make that more modern, we also found in the US, you now can go to a sound spa, and this is called the Whisper Lodge. It's to create the SAMR. I don't know if you know what that is, Autonomous Sensory Meridian Response, which is actually goosebumps, or the shiver that you get on the skin when you have a good sensation of something. So what does it mean? You go actually into this spa and you have a male or a female person whispering nice words and sentences into your ear. It's very relaxing, of course. I haven't tried it. I would like to try it. But I think it's also a nice way to think that this is also very relaxing, and it's a way to also look into Psy-Care in a more new way. And then we go into the smell. And of course, when you go to a trade show like this, there are so many smells, and you have so many different names for fragrances and perfumes and aromas and so on. And sometimes it's even more disturbing odors and stenches even. But in your home, we see now how the home also has to be this cocoon where you have a pleasant smell. And of course, here sustainability, natural materials that already have a scent in them is very important. When you smell wood, it has a scent. When you smell wool, it has a scent. When you smell clay, they all have scents. So that's also helping you to feel this cocoon and this very comforting aura around you. And then we have brands like the Teak, who just lately launched also a home care line for detergents and washing liquids and soaps for your home. This will definitely continue and be a big category in the future. Also, when we talk about fragrances and perfumes, we have to think about the hormonal changes of people and persons, and especially for women. Now and more menopause is becoming a topic that's not taboo anymore. More than half of the female population in the world also is going through menopause or had menopause, so it's a huge market. Especially we see how fragrance with active ingredients can help hormonal changes to be less problematic or less complicated for a woman, again, linking into, of course, aromatherapy in a smart way. Then we talk about taste. Taste is also about something that's very personal, of course, how you appreciate or how you don't like some things. But we like also the mix of something here that it's maybe not too usual, but something a little bit unusual. And we also saw some examples on the market today where you talk about new kinds of supplements. And the first one that you see here on the left is chocolates from the brand Alice. And they are actually looking into microdosing. They have launched 2 chocolates, which, of course, chocolate, but also adding some mushrooms, like magic mushrooms, either to make your brain sharper or to get a better sleep. And when I say microdosing, it's really microdosing. You will not get any hallucinations from them. It just helps you, to get a different mood, state of mind. And what you see on the right here, I think that was also an interesting example. It's a new restaurant in Stockholm called The Brutalist. And the manifesto here is that you should not change food because food should be what it is. So they try to keep as much as possible the texture, the color, and the original flavor of the ingredient. They might add salt, water, or maybe one spice, but otherwise it's very, very natural. And then also when we talk about supplements, we also look into, of course, this trend that's been very strong now for many, many years about cocktails and mixology. And here we tap into, again, the beauty segment by creating beauty mocktails. You will see and you will find already here at the fair, I've seen a lot of companies now also launching, of course, collagen that you can blend into these products. And we have some examples in the US, in France. Actually, in France, in Paris, there was just a cafe that opened that's called Café Collagène, meaning that you can get coffee with collagen. So it's not, you forget about the lattes and the cappuccino, now you get a collaginato or something like that. But anyway, it's interesting and maybe it works. Also something that's been a little bit forgotten by the beauty industry is the lip and oral care. Of course, we have tons of lipsticks, but the oral care is also very important. How you treat your teeth and how you, again, talking about an aging population is very important. And sometimes it can also go into more fun areas. There was a company that just recently launched stickers. You can actually get your emojis on your teeth now when you smile. Instead of sending one, you can smile and you show your emoji. And also more and more, of course, lipsticks that also have dual functions, not only hydrating, but also that can go a little bit further. That's also plumping, of course, and helping you to have a healthy and beautiful smile. There's nothing more seductive than a healthy smile, that's for sure. So we're reaching the end now, and the sixth sense, our intuition, is really it's really one of the most important things in Psy-Care, because it's about being in search of spirituality, this need for introspection, to listen to yourself. Mindfulness is so important, and to be at peace. And we're going to talk a lot about intuitive beauty. Actually, when we talk about intuitive beauty, it's very difficult to explain in words, and it's very difficult to also illustrate in the visual. But it's really about trying, and I think more and more consumers, they don't want to listen to any marketing claims anymore. They want to understand what they first feel before they buy a product. So this whole idea about teaching consumers and giving them clues to understand what they need will be so important. So there will be a shift, since consumers now, they are more and more aware of ingredients and the results they want and so on. They will listen to themselves, and this is really the idea of intuitive beauty. Again, also, I'm talking a lot about hyper-personalization, but this will also be the success for many companies, that they will be able to cater to all these different tastes and different wishes that the consumer would like to have. It's also talking about the inner beauty, finding the balance between the physical, the mental, and the spiritual. That triangle also is very important, and very often this is now also more and more linked to exercise. Of course, yoga, but also Pilates is gaining more and more, but also soft sports. And this is something now that, of course, is not only about going to yoga retreat, but it's also silent retreats and so on. Of course, it all comes together in a way of finding balance in a world that is also more and more stressful sometimes and not very optimistic. And finally, our love. And this is probably the most important messages in this presentation, because beauty is all about, of course, loving. First of all, being able to love yourself. Otherwise, we would not use beauty products, because we don't look in the mirror in the morning, and do we love ourselves? Do we love our look? But it's also about showing love, showing emotions, and also be available to get affection and share moments of tenderness, and also going into sexuality, which is, of course, a natural part of love. So let's talk about it. Let's talk about sex. Let's talk about sexual expression. And a lot of young designers today, they have no boundaries. We have in the middle Ludovic de Saint-Sernin, who is totally playing with male and female roles. We have Thierry Mugler, the black dress in the middle, who's also talking more and more about body positivity. We have Peter Müller, from the new designer for Alaya, who actually blended in a very feminine silhouette, some very hard, almost like bondage-looking accessories. And then you have Goop from Gwyneth Paltrow. She presents this beautiful pendant, which is actually a vibromasseur. So it's, it can be beautiful and functional. We're also going to talk about male intimacy, which is also a little bit taboo, but we see some brands now that, it started with skincare, shower gels, and, more, masculine products. But we also know that there are other parts of the male body that maybe need some grooming. So I'm not going to go into details. You can imagine what it is. And some brands are looking into this. And of course, when you put that all together, it's also about sexual wellness. And it's a product category that is growing, that is still sold a little bit under the table, that is not very natural to talk about yet. But the young generation, the Gen Z, they are much more open about talking about sexuality, talking about who they are, talking about seduction and so on. So if you want to cater into that consumer, you can also think about this category. And finally, the last one, it's also how can we use the oxytocin hormone in products. So I don't know if you know what it is. I didn't really know what oxytocin was until I read the Wikipedia. It's the hormone that the woman's body is creating when she's about to give birth, and it's the happiness hormone, which is so important. And it's been used a little bit in some fragrances and in some scents and so on, but we know that this is also a way maybe that could be used in all different kinds of products for men and women. We think it's quite gender neutral. And when you think about how beautiful this message is, if we can create more oxytocin around the world, we will also be maybe more loving, humanity. And maybe that's also what beauty is all about. It's actually about not only loving yourself, but also being able to love and create love between other people. So those are the 7 senses that I covered so far. The conclusion also, so now how will Psy-Care become an integral part of the beauty industry? Yes, why, but now this is how. And we see some very clear product ideas here. First of all, for cosmetics and skincare. The dopamine colors that we talked about, because it makes you feel better and happier. Or the active ingredients, especially for skincare, but also in cosmetics that will cure eczema and so on, because that will also boost your well-being and your self-confidence. All the textures and scents that are stimulating, and also, again, hyper-personalization to be able to cater to all the skin types and all the lifestyles and all the age groups that could be your potential consumers. For hair care, coloration, and styling, the reassuring curling colors will continue to grow. We see more and more the well-being rituals for scalp and mane, the massages and so on, the non-aggressive formulations with the boom of serums for your scalp, and again, also textures that are very smooth and comfortable. Perfume and fragrances, so new formats and gestures. This is also a lot about touch, that we see less of the spray, but maybe more of perfumes that you actually put on your skin with your hand. Also for your body, hair, and intimate scents, the hormone-based formulations, and then also for the home fragrances that should also be reassuring, and the premium home care lines will go into this whole group of new products. Oops, sorry. And then we look at also packaging and devices. For packaging and different applicators and devices, the ergonomic design will, of course, continue to be very big and will just grow. And also looking into applicator solutions for consumers with special needs. Some brands are doing it. It can be for people that have handicaps, but also older people, who have problems maybe opening a jar or putting on a mascara, for instance. The adaptable dosage is very important also for different moments in life or different moments of the day. And also the truly sustainable solutions will be not important, they will be essential actually. And for the retail environment and for services, again, we look into comfortable and reassuring environments with everything is coming together. It's almost like, again, spiritual, physical, and mental. Colors, shapes, and materials should all fit together in a nice way. Now also in the retail environment, you should be able to get diagnoses and also maybe go into cognitive training exercises. And that could also lead into group activities where your brand can create a strong community, which is not only a community that is digital on Instagram, but actually a true community. Thank you so much for listening. Thank you for attending. And I hope you will find a beautiful Psy-Care future ahead of you. Thank you so much.